This is Shadows in the Peaks, a Legends of the Five Rings actual play from Stories with Dice. If you're enjoying our actual plays, please subscribe to Stories with Dice so you'll never miss an episode. Don't forget to rate and review us. It really helps others discover the podcast. Follow us on social media to stay updated. You'll find the relevant links in the description of each episode.
Welcome back to Legend of the Five Rings with a wonderful group. Let me introduce everybody. Well, actually, I'll introduce myself because, I'm Ed. I'm the GM. You know me. You love me. I've got my wonderful co-host, Marco. Do you? Of course you do.
Hello, everyone.
We have Charlotte.
Hi.
Tony.
Hola.
And back from river cruises and all good fun stuff, we have Scott.
Hello.
Sorry you couldn't join us last session.
He was too busy listening to a Beatles cover band. It's his favorite band in the whole wide world.
Yep. Excellent.
It was an experience. If ever you're in the wonderful city of Bristol, UK, check out Music River Cruises. I strongly recommend them, and they were wonderful for me and my family.
I feel like we need to be sponsored by these people.
This is not a paid endorsement.
One day they'll pay me. One day you'll pay me for this.
That'd be nice. I'm never going to pay you, Scott. Right, so we're going to continue where we left off. You all decided you were all going to go off and travel to the Lower East Teahouse on your first day to then go and explore and investigate. I'm not going to go through the previous stuff. Listen to the previous episode. If you're starting now, you're crazy. Go back to the beginning. So, the morning begins in Shirokitsuki. The stone walls glisten with frost and the air bites with quiet authority. The road winds through narrow mountain passes, edges softened by fresh snowfall. Each step crunches the weight of silence, broken only by the distant call of a crow or the whisper of wind through bare branches. As the sun rises, it casts pale gold across the snowfields, revealing faint tracks, some humans, some animals. The cold deepens, but so does the stillness. The journey becomes a meditation, breath visible, thoughts slowed, the world reduced to white and shadow. By midday, the road descends where the snow lies a little heavier. The wind carries a scent of cedar and ash. A lone shrine marks the halfway point, its offering frozen in place. Travellers often pause here, not for warmth, but for quiet reflection. You know that by late afternoon, you will be able to make your way to the lower East Road Teahouse, but you have currently stopped at the shrine. If there are any Shigens in the party, are you going to make any offerings or prayers?
Yes, I will. I will make an offering or a prayer for safe travels on the start of our journey.
Excellent. Why don't you make a theology roll? Or would you like to actually perform a ritual and actually entreat the kami, maybe,
Sure, let's try that.
Do you have commune? I think you should have commune.
Yeah, I think everyone does.
Yeah, you have.
Well, not everyone, but all Shugenji do.
Yeah, you should do. So, it's a spell. It's a mastery level 1 spell. So, casting spells in this game require you to use your ring plus your insight rank. So, it would be 1 from your insight rank plus your ring. What kami do you want to entreat? That will determine what ring you'll use.
Do I have access to all of them for something like this?
You have, except for... You have access to all of them, but you have a deficiency in, I think it's water, is it?
Yeah. Because it's the opposite of fire, which is...
Yeah. It means that it's just harder for you to cast water spells. But, I mean, an elemental, this is going to be water, air, perhaps earth. Fire is probably as far away from this location. I mean, if it was me, I would probably say I'd go for air.
Let's go with that. Can I make this rollable?
You should just be able to roll your ring, and then you should be able to add 1 dice from your rank.
All right, so we said air, right?
It's air, yep. So that's fine. Just add 1 because it's going to be unless it's going to spellcasting roll. There's a spellcasting button on the... When you click on the ring, it's a spellcasting roll, so that should automatically factor it in for you.
We shall see.
It did! Hurrah! Yes, so you entreat with the air spirits, and you essentially give yourself an auspicious start to the journey. The air spirits are quite mischievous, and they're always just out of grasp. They're not really communicating greatly. They seem to be being dragged off, essentially, by the wind and the snow that occasionally picks up and goes over the shrine. So it's very difficult to kind of really sort of have any kind of meaningful conversation with them. Yeah, which you do. The Muramoto says a small prayer, does something similar, but is more quiet about it. Whereas I guess the nature of your element is quite bolshy, I imagine. So you're probably more flamboyant. Is that more of a thing to say, or are you less so? Being a fire.
I'll have to get back to you.
Okay, on the spot. Great, I like it. Okay, does anybody else want to do anything while at the shrine?
No, we'll just wait patiently. And perhaps use this time to meditate.
Yeah, you can meditate, that's fine.
Hiroshi will do a bit of horse care, groom his horse.
What's the name of your horse?
His horse's name I have written down right here, and you'd think I'd remember that, wouldn't you? His horse's name is Byakufu.
Does it have a particular name? As in, does it have a meaning?
It means white wind.
Cool. I take it's a white horse.
It's a white horse.
Excellent. Okay. So you and your the horse partner, it is actually really happy to sort of like be out galloping, being able to get out of the stable. It's actually quite nice for you to sort of be able to ride. Okay. Well, you leave the shrine, and by late afternoon, the forest edge starts to come in, and you actually sort of get a sort of like a tree-lined avenue. Ahead of you, you can see lanterns glowing like distant stars, and you get the scent of tea and wood smoke as it beckons you inside. Welcome to the East Road Tea House. East Road Tea House actually has another name, but you don't know what it is until you get right up to it. It is a very traditional-looking tea house. It's nestled along a winding road between Early Dawn Forest and Great Falls Castle. It's called the Willow, Ember and Inn and Tea House, and serves as a refuge for weary travellers, monks and samurai venturing between mountain passes. The scent of carefully brewed trees and the warmth of its hearth makes a favoured stop for those seeking respite, wisdom and quiet conversation. As you get closer, you can actually be seen for a fair distance during daylight. And I assume as it starts to get dark, your various servants and stuff have lit lanterns, so you can all walk, on the path without tripping up. And as you arrive, a elderly lady comes out, and she sort of bows very deeply to you and says, "Samurai, it is good that you managed to get here just in time. There is food and tea ready for you. Please come on in." And as you sort of like make your way towards that, she says, "Please take off your traveling shoes, and here, my son here can take your traveling kimonos." And essentially there's like 3 people waiting to sort of take off all your sort of like snow-laden travel gear. There's a small stand for each of you. In fact, there's quite a few stands to put your daisho, your 2 swords down if you wish. And there are actually even some stands for putting armor on if you want to unburden yourself from any of that sort of thing. And as you sort of like go through the motions of getting into the tea house, you're each given this small pot of tea, of green tea, which you can drink, and then you're given each a little warm bucket of water to wash your hands and your face. And she sort of like does this to each of you as you kind of make your way in. I imagine Scott Utaka Hiroshi is probably going to be the last person in, because you'll have to sort out your horse.
Yeah, he'll stay with Byakufu first, and then he'll bring up the rear.
Yes, so you kind of go into the first room. There's this large central hall which boasts polished wood floors, low tables, cushions arranged in quiet alcoves. There's steam rising from these large cast iron kettles, filling the air with a sense of jasmine, green tea, and a toasted barley kind of smell. She offers you a space to sit, and she looks at, who's going first?
Katsuni will go first.
Kikita's like, Katsuni, he actually pushes it that way.
I was going to say ladies first, but doesn't matter.
In which case, she says to Kitsune Akira, "My lord, please have a seat. And your companions, are they sitting with you?"
If they wish.
Pleasant, she says, as she smiles, and she says, please. And she says, Crane Summer, it's nice to see a member of the Crane clan so far to the north. Please, have a seat. We've got some lovely black tea that actually came in just before winter. It's from the coast. You'll love it. Absolutely, my lord, you'll love it. She sort of sits you down. She then sort of like wanders over to Agasha Ayama and says, it's so honored to have a Shigenja in the house, especially one from the Adim Phoenix clan. Please, 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 have a seat, have a seat.
Thank you.
Could I possibly burden you to bless this house before you leave? In fact, we'd be very honored.
Absolutely.
Amazing, amazing. Please, please, please have a seat. And she goes on to the Muramoto, my lady, please, please take a seat. And she kind of like takes her off and sits her down as well. She kind of looks a bit confused by the Sparrow clan and was like, She kind of like hedges her bets and says, my lady samurai, please have a seat. She doesn't mention the clan. She has no idea who she is. But she sits her down anyway and figures that she's just as important as the rest of you because she's traveling with you. Then she sort of like fuffles around while you're kind of getting yourself seated. And she sort of like, seems a bit like out of sorts because the other samurai hasn't arrived. And so she kind of, you can see she's waiting in the wings for Ataki Hiroshi to kind of come in after he's finishing whatever he needs to do with his horse.
Maybe she's out of sorts because she's uncomfortable with my evil eye.
Could well be. She hasn't seemed to have, well, it could be that. She seems to have not mentioned it or looked you in the eye. But it's a common tactic that a lot of merchants and half people will do is they won't look you directly in the eye as a sign of respect, but also definitely in your case, Kitsune Akira, it's freaky as hell to most people.
Can you describe your eye again?
Sure, I have so I have one discolored eye. So I have one hazel eye and then one really icy blue eye.
Okay, like heterochromia. Gotcha.
Are there any other travelers?
Well,
on the tea house.
As you then look around as you're kind of like trying to get comfortable, you can see a couple of other people. And who's in the inn? Let's have a look. You can see sitting on the other side of the tea house is a man in his late 30s, tall, lean, weathered face. He is sort of leaning over a parchment and he has his daisho on him, like to the side, on the right hand side, so he can't draw it easily, but he does have it on it. He hasn't left it where the others would normally go. His kimono is sort of like a faded blue embroidered with waves and falling leaves, and he's kind of got ink stains all up his hands. And he's trying to write something on this parchment. And then on the other corner, you can see a guy in robes of grey and white, and he has got like a straw hat on, which is weird on the inside, being inside, but it's kind of like at an angle, so you can only see sort of like the lower part of his face. And he is slowly sipping on a drink and using some chopsticks to eat some sashimi.
Does he have any weapons on him?
There's no weapons or anything on him.
Not even a daisho on stand or anything?
Nothing. I mean, well, you look over at the stand, in which case, Ataki Hiroshi, you kind of come in. But yes, you look around, it's your swords, and there are no other swords. So it looks like it's just you guys at the end. There isn't anybody else that's a samurai here.
I will keep my armor and everything, and I will put my katana and daisho on my right.
So, if anyone doesn't know, the correct behavior for samurai is if you have your daisho, which is your katana along your wakizashi, on your right-hand side. Most people are right-handed, so it'd be very difficult to draw and then attack. Not impossible, but more difficult. It also implies that you trust your host. If you put it on your left, it's easy to draw, and therefore you're saying that you distrust your host. It's a subtle way to tell your host what you think of them. Right. Scott, Ataki Hiroshi, you kind of come in, and you get the same sort of thing. Oh, unicorn summer. It's so good to see you. We haven't seen a unicorn for such a long time. Please come in. How is your horse? Is everything okay? If you need us to give it more hay or some fresh apples, we can do that. Please come. No, I insist. Here, take this. And then kind of seats you in the same sort of like general area.
Hiroshi takes her up on the offer of some fresh apples and throws her out to a couple of zen to have them taken out to the horse, and then sits with the others again, daisho to the right.
She says, "Thank you, my lord." She looks at the money you've given her as if it's the only money she's ever seen in her life, and she sort of like bows multiple times and says, "Thank you, thank you, thank you." And she goes off, and as she goes off, as soon as she thinks like she's out of earshot, all the kind of like please and thank yous and stuff disappears, and then she starts shouting at the various serving people to do what they're supposed to be doing, leaving you sort of the obligatory sort of 5 to 10 minutes on your own to discuss whatever without being harassed by anyone. Your peasants and stuff are all being taken to various quarters, leaving you guys and these other 2 people alone in the tea house, or at least in this room, in the main room. It's warm, it's inviting. As you sort of look around, you can see that the style is probably overly done. There are lots of dragon motifs. There is a lot of motifs of willows and willow trees and sort of koi carp, that kind of thing. So all embroidered on all the walls and all the shoji screens, that kind of thing.
I'll keep silence, but I will look at the 2 other travelers on the tea house. I will keep a look. I actually sat facing them.
Okay, are you going to try and do it subtly, or are you going to just eye them up? Like, what do you do? Kind of thing.
Subtly. I'm just sitting there, but I'm mindful of the space.
Okay. Why don't you make a investigation roll?
Okay, so that's... I don't have investigation, so I guess that's awareness, perception.
That was a 3. So yes, you look at them. They look back. In fact, only one looks back at you. The one that's writing with the ink set kind of looks up, smiles at you, and then goes back to sort of writing. It's like he's just noticed that you've all suddenly turned up in the tea house. The other one is eating, doesn't look at you, keeps his head down, doesn't say anything, doesn't do anything else. The rest of you just pretty much waiting. Presumably, you're not really going to make any small talk. This is not the small talk group.
Hiroshi's probably happy to chat if anyone wants to discuss their journey on the road, and certainly at least while we're waiting for the tea to come out.
I will definitely have someone drink the tea before I drink it.
Yeah, you've got that peasant that you kind of, one of the half people, the more trusted of your retainers. I
thought I didn't have any retainers. Do I have retainers?
No, you don't have any retainers. I forget. Yes, you don't have any retainers. So, are you going to request for one of their retainers, or you want to request someone from the tea house?
Someone from the tea house.
Okay, so yeah, you kind of
hold
request
on one moment. I want to see if I can actually help him with that. So I think I took something to detect poison.
Ooh, okay.
I think. I know I was looking at it.
Might be in luck.
But will I trust her?
That's on you.
Okay, well, while you're doing that...
No, I didn't take it.
Can we see the watchtower from the tea house?
Can you? You probably could if it was daylight.
Because it's up in the... Isn't it like
It's up, yeah.
It's on a hill or a mountain or something?
Yeah, it's probably a couple of hours away to the south, just on the side of the beginning of the hills into the mountains. Okay, Otaki Hiroshi's making small talk. It sounds like most of you aren't really making small talk with Hiroshi. If you do that, Suzumi Nori will absolutely have a conversation with you. She says, Hiroshi-san, or she's Hiroshi-sama. She says, what brings you to the Dragonlands?
So if I wanted to elevate her to the same level as myself and make Sama irrelevant, you'd respond with Nori-san.
Yes.
Yeah. Nori-san, I'm here with a delegation from the Unicorn Clan. I was here merely as a retainer, and now I find myself with a different purpose. How about yourself?
I've come here on behalf of the Sparrow Clan. I wanted to come and see the wonders of the Dragonlands, and I heard there were many good stories told by the Takashi, and I just thought, well, why not start at the north of Rokukan and work your way south? And I thought, well, why not? I mean, I've heard so many stories about it. It would be good. And so yes, I thought I would venture in. I got permission from my lord. I got permission from the Crane Lord who was overseeing the lands, and here I am. I can't believe it. I am with such esteemed samurai like yourself and a unicorn. You have an amazing horse.
Hiroshi laughs and shakes his head. I am of very little renown and esteem. What would Hiroshi know of the Sparrow Clan?
Do you have any kind of law clans or anything like that? If you don't,
not anything. I've got Law of Shadowlands, which probably because Sparrow Clan's not a Shadowlands clan,
no,
is it? So
just intelligence roll for me.
Straight up intelligence. Let's give it a roll. 8.
you know nothing about the sparrow or the minor clans that anywhere. I mean, it's so far away from the unicorn lands that you've just never come up with.
Yeah, I kind of figure it's just nothing I've ever encountered. Hiroshi's genuinely interested in her story and comes across that way, and asks her a few more questions about her journeys, what she's and what her background is. What did she do? Did she study at a dojo? Is she a bushi? Does she more of a courtier and a diplomat?
She kind of like goes a little bit red. And she says, I am merely a humble Sparrow Clan samurai. Toil the fields. We are proud samurai farmers. Everyone's like, hang on, wait a second. Samurai don't plow fields and plant rice paddies. That's just not what samurai do. That's what the retainers and peasants are for. She says, we have a deep respect for the land, and for many, many years, this is something that we were granted. It's something that we have done for generations. I have to thank, and she looks over at Kikita Hironobu and says, the crane, they are the ones that have allowed us to elevate ourselves to the caste, and of course, the Emperor, who allowed us to become a clan in the first place. But we're still a young clan, and we're working towards it. I follow the way of Suzumi, which is our Bushi school, where we kind of says yes, I'm a Bushi. I guess I am traditionally trained in the way of the sword, but I am also a storyteller. I've picked up many stories on the way, and I would like to think that I will pick up more.
Well, Suzumi Nori, I look forward to hearing many more of your stories, and maybe helping to write some of our own.
That's so wonderful of you. Thank you so much, Takeyoshi-san, she says. She kind of like says it really awkwardly.
He then nods. Thank you, Nori-san. Like big confident son. There's yes, this is the way.
She's very grateful. Why don't you go ahead and give yourself 1 point of honor?
I will do that.
Okay, the rest of you are sitting there listening to this conversation. The old woman comes back out, and there's a plethora of food that kind of comes out, loads of food and drink and stuff. She asks if there's anything you would like. Is there anything you would listen to? Can I offer you anything?
I will ask for some music.
Absolutely.
Like calming music to, put away the darkness of the way.
An excellent choice, Kakita-san.
She says, she almost shouts, and she says, Hibiki! In this like really shrill voice, and this lady comes out dressed in this very fine kimono that's probably seen quite a few years. And she stops. She has a sami-san, and she starts to pluck at the sami-san and starts to play some pleasant music. It's, Hironobu, it's not the best you've ever heard, but it's not bad, up in these sort of like Dragonlands. It's pleasant enough. It's quite quiet. It's calming.
Perfect. And then I will very slowly eat. And not eat a lot, just bits and pieces.
Is there anything you particularly want to do in this inn, or are you happy to just let the evening go by?
Other than make sure my tea is not poisoned? No.
No. The tea does not appear to be poisoned. They all drink and sample some for you.
Well, if there is a moment when the woman comes back, I would ask politely if there have been other travelers coming through here.
Crane-sama, of course, there's two here at the moment. And she sort of like looks sideways at the other two travelers.
No, but okay, my meaning was more like the previous weeks, like if this is a very used route and, you see many people coming and going.
She sort of like sits down sort of like next to you, sort of like kneels on her knees, and sort of like she's quite close, but without touching. And she says, my lord, there are many people that come and go. We have a fine establishment here. Many, many, many reputable people, great samurai come and go. As to what they are doing, it is not my place to inquire, because to do so would surely be rude, and I would not want to intrude in any samurai's private accounts. You see, she's starting to kind of fumble with her words, and she says, I'm sorry, not particularly useful, and I'm extremely sorry, my lord, and I should indeed not expect anything from yourself for not being as attentive as I should be to someone of your status. Well, I'm extremely sorry. She bows really low next to you.
No, and it's like, never mind. My meaning was like winter is gone and just wanted to gather it there. Movement at this time of the year.
Afraid I'm a very simple owner of a tea house, and I don't really understand. I don't really get involved with that sort of thing.
Very well, thank you.
I'm very sorry, and I shall expect nothing from you when you leave, as a way of not being able to fulfill my role. And she kind of like bows really low, and she bows again, and she does that as she walks off and disappears off out the back.
From that conversation, could we discern if she was, I guess, having any emotion behind it, like fear, like not wanting to say something?
Do any of you have investigation?
I do not.
Or some kind of interpersonal skill?
I have investigation.
I don't. My only interpersonal skill is the katana.
I can investigate you if you're a horse.
Cool. I think that's just two of you then.
The emphasis on investigation for me is interrogation and notice.
Okay. Yeah, that
and search.
Okay. So, you can make your roll.
I have a 34.
Look at you, Mr. Investigator,
Wow.
sir. Yeah, so she absolutely was trying to be as sincere as possible, but is clearly lying. You imagine that she's a lot smarter than she actually is, but as is usually the way, visiting samurai don't particularly like smart people who are in positions where they can spot things or understand things. So they basically play dumb. And clearly, also, the other probability is that a crane is asking in Dragonlands, why the hell would she tell an enemy of her of the Dragon Clan anything, or is essentially, even if not an enemy, but a non-dragon anything.
Okay, and her name is what again?
She did not give it.
She did not give her name. Okay, then I will just simply say, would it be rude if I just called her woman?
Probably innkeeper is probably
innkeeper.
The proper word for it. If you wanted to be nice, you could call her innkeeper son, or you could just call her woman. I mean, you're in perfect right to call her woman.
Innkeeper son. I do that pause before the san, like,
my lord, and she comes shuffling over and she sort of kneels beside you.
We are magistrates with the full authority.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, we are.
You got your seal?
I show her the seal.
Well, I am incredibly sorry.
Sorry for lying to us. Yes, you should be.
No, I was not lying. I was merely protecting the interests of the clan.
We are operating under the interests of the clan. Now answer Kakita-san's questions with truth.
My lord? She looks across to Kakita Hiranobu. What was the question again? I forget these things.
Do not play dumb with us, woman.
We have not had many travelers. A few, but not many. Mostly traveling between Shiramuramoto and Shirokitsuki. I don't really as I said, I don't really take that much attention. I mean, obviously, if it is someone that is not a regular, then yes, of course we will. But we try not to sort of keep any record or anything like that of them. No one's suspicious that I would consider someone I would say is out of the ordinary. She sort of like looks over at the two that are sort of like sitting in at the moment.
I look over at them and then I look back at her with like this sort of quizzical look on my face.
She says, it's not often we get travelers who are non-samurai. If there was someone odd, she sort of like goes in a very low voice. She says, the time would be now. And she bows and says, oh, we'll get that right away for you. And she wanders out.
So I'll get up and I will approach those two non-samurai gentlemen that she referenced.
There's one in white robes with a large hat that's kind of over half his face, or the one that's currently in the blue robes, sort of like writing with ink all over his hands.
So they're not sitting together?
They're not sitting together. They're in sort of separate corners. They clearly were obviously here before you, and they both took separate corners, and then you're in the sort of central sort of table because it's the biggest table.
The gentleman with the one who's writing.
Okay.
Good evening, friend.
He looks up and says, oh, hello, how are you?
Might I sit down?
Is
there a problem?
Most odd, but sure, please.
What are you scribbling there on that parchment?
You can see he's writing, looks like poetry. And as you sort of like look down, you can see he's written sort of a poem that says, We stood in fog, not as enemies, but as questions waiting for answers. My blade spoke first. His silence was deeper. And it's kind of like written at multiple times in sort of this nice calligraphy, and then some of it's ripped out, and there's loads of scraps of paper around, and he's got like calligraphy ink everywhere, and he's obviously trying to get the right type of calligraphy, and he's trying to perfect it, but he's obviously had quite a few tries, and it's not gone very well.
This is very good.
Thank you, sir. May I ask your name?
I am Katsuni Akira.
Ah, my lord, nice to meet you. I am Kaito, the Ink Blade. How may I help you? I see you have come in with a large group of others, traveling the Dragonlands.
Just looking for conversation on this cold night.
It is a cold evening.
Where do you hail from?
Many different places. I wander. I'm a poet, a duelist, a reluctant prophet. He laughs.
And what about this shadow you write about, this fog you write about, this mist?
Oh, this?
Is this something you experienced?
Well, this is, I guess it alludes to dueling, surely. You know, the stand in fog, I suppose you could say that is us, like myself, and he kind of like points over towards the Kikita duelist and says, myself, and say another duelist would be standing there. We would center ourselves. We would be in a fog, not aware of anyone else. You would center and understand what the other was doing. You'd have to wait for answers because you are sizing each other up. My blade spoke first, therefore I struck first. His silence was deeper because he was dead. It's just something I like to mess around with. I mean, I call myself a poet, and you are very kind to say that it is good. It is just something.
This is a confession.
I suppose you could call it a confession. That is one way to look at it.
And who was the man that you killed?
He was, I don't really want to talk about that. He says,
many people have gone missing. That is why we are here. Perhaps one of these people is a man that you killed.
The person I killed was a long time ago, a decade ago, when I was young. I should have known better.
And you have killed no one since?
No, I will not say that. I have killed many men.
Recently?
Not since prior to the winter. He looks over at the Phoenix and says, I've killed my fair share of the dragon's enemies.
We are not enemies, and neither is my companion. Any of my companions. We are magistrates of the dragon.
Magistrate, please forgive me. I did not know. Perhaps if you would open with that sooner, I would be less suspicious. He smiles. I have no quarrel with anyone here.
Of course you don't. Not while Kitsune-san is here.
Well, a great samurai like yourself, I should not want to do anything.
I slap him on the back after he says that and smile. He is overconfident. That's one of his faults.
Yeah.
So I'll go over to the guy in the white.
Okay, well, while you're having that conversation, do any of the others want to do anything else? Or are you just watching this interplay between Katsuni Akira and the stranger?
Hiroshi's watching this, trying to work out if what Akira is doing is bordering on rude and overly aggressive.
Yes.
But then he's looking at all of the others, and because they're not moving, and he's still really actually quite unsure about the way the social etiquette works in anywhere that's not the unicorn lands. He's keeping his mouth shut and his sword's close.
Yeah, likewise. I'm just looking and seeing what's going on and letting him play.
Okay. What about you, Charlotte? What's Sagashi Ayami doing?
I'm just sitting there eating, and in between like bites, just sitting there quietly, eyes closed, head down, focusing on what's being said. I'm assuming behind me, just listening.
Okay, right. Well, the Muramoto Kami does nothing either. Much the same, right? It's the whole kind of, well, no one else is doing anything, so no one's doing anything. And Suzumi Nori is not doing anything either. She'd follow suit if requested, but she's, again, just watching. Well, you go over to the gentleman in the white, okay? He's cloaked in layered robes that are grey and white, and he's got the straw hat thing that kind of like goes across his face.
He didn't move with his swords or anything, right?
He had no
didn't
swords or
touch.
anything.
No, he got a daisho, no? Or it was
He's got
the
no
other
daisho,
one?
nothing. The other one had the daisho, but this guy has nothing.
Okay. Sorry.
Friend, may I sit down?
fuck off.
Well, that wasn't nice or friendly.
I am neither nice nor friendly, and I'm happy to be left alone.
You're just the kind of man I've been looking for. I'll grab him by the... Does he have a hood on or something? Or
No, he doesn't have a hood on. He's just got that sort of like straw hat on.
I'll actually rip the hat off his head and throw it on the ground.
Rip the hat off his head and you throw it. Yeah, he's probably in his late 40s. He's got bright white hair in the style of the Crane. So the Crane like to dye their hair white, the main clan, the Doji clan, and he's got this horrible scar down one side of his face, which is why he was kind of like had the thing across his face. You grab him, you pick him sort of like up a bit, and he doesn't resist. He just kind of like comes up with you, and he stands up as you do that and says, "Take your hands off my kimono.
No.
I will give you one more chance."
And I will give you none.
He starts to mutter something under his breath. Charlotte.
Fuck, he's casting a spell.
He's casting a spell. He's a Shigenja. Feel free if you want to roll your theology roll.
I shall do that.
Are either of our companions starting to do anything at this point?
Nope.
At 21.
Okay. Yeah, he starts to... he's casting a spell. It's an air spell. And you recognize it. The spell is Tempest of Air. So it would use air to push someone away from them and knock people to the ground. He starts mumbling.
I have that one.
Marco. Oh, you've got that. Yeah, so you recognize it. He says, and in between that, he says, "Do not push me."
I am, once I start to set or hear what he's doing, I am going to quickly stand up and try and cover a little bit of ground between the table and him and demand that this stops inside this establishment.
As this happens, Hiroshi will stand behind Agasha, arms folded, staring at both of them.
Okay. Tony? What's Kikita Hironobu can do?
I will just change my swords from the right to the left.
Yeah, you can see that the other two aren't doing anything other than sort of like taking a step. Right, well, Marco, I guess it's on you. What do you want to do?
Can I, right in the throat? Is that, what is that, jiu-jitsu?
That's jiu-jitsu. That is indeed jiu-jitsu. Well, I guess it's no time like the present, right? Let's very briefly go into a little tiny bit of combat.
Just to sort of stop him from casting the spell.
Well, that was initiative roll, which I automatically do for you, so don't worry about it.
Don't worry about it.
It's all good and groovy. Right, so, Kikita Hironobu, you have got the initiative. Obviously, you're waiting to see what happens, so you're not really going to visually do anything. Suzumi is not doing anything, she's holding her action. Scott, what's Utaku Hiroshi doing?
He'll hold his action to see what goes on.
Okay. It is next. Kitsune Akira, would you like to make a jiu-jitsu roll for me? What the difficulty to hit this gentleman is 25.
25?
Because he's also sort of like, he's being very fluid, like water or air as you do things.
Okay. Now, remind me how you can use Void to get extra dice?
So, you can choose to use Void. I mean, that's quite like a big step. So that's quite like, getting out the big guns straight away.
Well,
but
this is escalating quickly.
It's escalating very quickly. I mean, yeah, so you can choose to use your Void to roll extra dice. So it allows you to roll and keep extra dice. Now, I don't know if you have with your school. Some schools allow you to use Void and get more. I'm just going to have a quick look. Yeah, so that's fine. If you basically spend a point of Void, you will get to roll and keep per point of Void you spend to add to your skill. But then that's your Void done until you can do a meditation or a tea ceremony or something like that to replace it.
Okay.
But yeah, I mean, that's like getting out the big guns, right? Just for your information. But yeah, so presumably you're not trying to grapple him, you're actually just trying to give him a good old unarmed strike.
Correct.
Okay.
What was the target number?
It's 25, you've got a 23.
So close!
So you basically go in to sort of like strike him in his throat. As he does that, he kind of grabs your wrist with his wrist and he pushes it off to the side. Again, it's some kind of like martial arts maneuver. Takes a step back and then Gashoyami, it is your go before his go.
Yeah, I need one moment to see how I want this to play out.
Can I step in with my held action?
You can make it. You need to make a quick roll or is it reflexes? I can't remember, but make a reflexes roll to see if you can jump in before Charlotte.
13.
Charlotte, do you want to just roll your reflexes?
Sure.
You just need more than 13 to go before. Okay, so yes, you could jump in before Agashi Yami.
Hiroshi will step in between the two of them and just go, stop.
So are you actually trying to push them apart?
Basically, he just hands between the two of them, not pushing either of them, just saying, stop.
You're not engaging any kind of combat at all.
Not engaging in any combat.
Okay, fine.
This is unnecessary. Stop.
Charlotte, what are you doing?
What is Hiroshi wearing? Particularly on his head.
It would be his riding clothes, so he wouldn't be fully armoured. He's probably actually just got his hair bound in a top knot and not wearing anything. Because it's not particularly scorching sun outside, is it?
No.
No, not at all.
So, no, he's probably just got his hair unbound or bound in a top knot, but not actually wearing a hat or anything like that.
All right. I'm going to sit back now that Hiroshi has kind of gotten in between them. He foiled what I was going to do.
Sorry.
No, that's fine.
Foiler.
I was going to do the same thing, but with magic, essentially.
Oh, damn it, yours would have been flashy.
Literally.
Well, in that case, as he moves back, he casts a spell.
It's not very nice of him.
Well, it wasn't very nice of him to tell me to fuck off either.
I mean, you were being kind of rude. If we're being honest.
Was I? I just said, hi, friend. How is hi, friend, can I sit down rude?
You weren't exactly respecting his solitude, were you?
Not really.
It seems whatever you were doing has put him off his stride. Nothing seems to happen. He takes another step back and he kind of goes down into a low stance. As he goes down into a low stance, he pulls out a aguchi, which is a small dagger without a hilt, and he stops and says, he puts his hand up, he says, back off now, or I will use this.
Is he saying that to anyone in particular?
He's clearly looking at Kitsune Akira.
Well, speak up. Take a look around. You are in no position to make demands.
He takes another step back. He's edging backwards away from you all. Says, I will take my leave of you now.
You forgot your hat. I'll pick it up off the ground and I'll hand it to him.
He puts his hand out to grab the edge of the hat and pulls it off of you. He puts the aguchi away.
You could have just said, please leave me alone, and I would have left you alone.
He looks at all of you, and he then turns and runs, presumably out the back way, whichever that way might be.
Hiroshi looks to the proprietress of the tea shop.
She looks shocked. It's like, she's got her hands over her face.
We will cover his bill. And I will glance very pointedly at Akira, as if to say, you will cover his bill.